2024 was awesome. I went on a fuck ton of adventures. Festival season was tremendous. Wigan Warriors captured all trophies available to them in rugby league, and hangovers continue to refrain. Have done so for nearly a decade at time of talking, but most importantly, I finally managed some form of interaction with my fit Polish neighbour. Truth be told, the eye contact that occurred on platform 2 at our local train station was brief as fuck. However, I passionately believe this encounter completely validates her being a prominent feature in the terabytes worth of unsanctioned photography I've got stashed on my computer in a file named Tug Fuel. Longtime followers of my channel may recall that Mad Max Fury Road sat atop the Best of the Year podium back in 2015, so it shouldn't come as a shock that I've surrounded Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, with pixelated gold. The plot depicts our title character during her formative years. It's that simple. Also, like fuck was I going to scrupulously synopsize every event that occurred between her preteens and Fury Road's storyline. Fuck that. I'd have an easier time lying on shattered glass whilst wanking, to completion of course, over a Scientology documentary. Despite Furiosa being released back in May, I didn't actually watch it until fairly recently. Fuck knows why its stint at the cinema passed me by, but as a result the FOMO hit me hard because this movie is in every regard a fucking spectacle. Furiosa was written, directed and produced by George Miller, who also pitched in the same innings for Fury Road, not to mention helmed the original trilogy that spanned from 1979 to 1985, which I confess to not having seen, but fuck it. Anyway, Furiosa encapsulates everything I loved from Fury Road whilst very much remaining its own feature. The visuals are aesthetically pleasing, especially when it comes to the costume design, props, and most notably the vehicles, which in layman's terms are fucking awesome. Composer Tom Holkenborg carried across the same energy and style of music from his Fury Road score and used it as the foundation to manufacture a very complimentary OST. Also, shout out to the audio engineer for creating sound effects so good that my ears appreciated it even through my battle-tested speakers. Furiosa is by no means gory, which is a surprise considering the BBFC rated it 15, but all action scenes are creative and well choreographed, especially when it came to the vehicle chases, one of which went on for over 10 minutes. Fine by me, because in my mind it surpasses the highway chase from The Matrix Reloaded, which to some will be an opinion more abhorrent than the idea of a Thai massage concluding without my belly button being transformed into a jizz koozie. The acting is great, but I was super conflicted over who gets the coveted MVP award. Anna Taylor-Joy displays a fuck ton of range as Furiosa in a movie that carries so much more emotional weight than its predecessor. Whatever tone the film wished to take, be it a physically demanding segment or a scene that required performance dimension, Taylor-Joy adjusts accordingly and delivers effectively. Traditionally, such praise earns a cast member the title of MVP, but unfortunately for Anna Taylor-Joy, she's sharing custody of it with Chris Hemsworth. I had a blast witnessing him playing a role outside of the MCU despite his character donning attire extremely akin to that of Thor's, but I digress. Hemsworth is clearly having so much fucking fun portraying Dementus, whose level of antagonist is so gloriously unhinged he makes Immortan Joe appear more grounded than a tent peg with aviophobia. I endorsed the fuck out of Fury Road back in 2015, but if you haven't laid eyes upon it, don't worry, you'll still be able to appreciate almost every second of Furiosa's occasionally excessive 148-minute runtime. In fact, watching the rejuvenated Mad Max saga chronologically would be the recommended order. Who knows, it may inspire more cinematic joy than the day when footage from Dominique Pellico's computer is leaked, but I fucking doubt it. So it turns out May was the gift that kept on giving, as it also provided tarot, which for my taste has unequivocally earned its place betwixt the shit trophies. A bunch of collegiate cunt muffins are celebrating their friend's birthday in a rented mansion. During the festivities, they stumble across an ominous deck of tarot cards. Because plot, one of the group members is versed in astrology and thus is elected to read all their horoscopes, hers included, whilst they're all completely unbeknownst to the fact that everyone's final outcome card will become corporeal and unleash a fate worse than what's destined for Diddy's cinnamon ring. Now, I know I've dedicated a fair portion of my film reviewing career to shitting on supernatural horror. This is completely justifiable as it's a saturated genre. However, in this case, the premise is certainly fit for purpose when you consider the theme, but it's the manner in which said premise presents itself that inspired me to award Tarot this accolade. The script is completely devoid of substance. I wouldn't even be slightly surprised if every single word of it was written by AI. Naturally, jump scares are consistently relied upon, but you can see each one coming from afar, and the mostly forgettable soundtrack made them all the more predictable. The characters are heinously generic, and they're presented to us via acting that was either languid or overzealous, and the cinematography was tastelessly basic, but all would have been forgiven if the death scenes provided a plethora of goregasms. As you may have guessed, they did not. Taro's runtime clocks in at 1 hour and 32 minutes. The first demise arrives roughly 1/3 into that duration, which in my eyes is a pacing issue, but henceforth the fatalities come frequently enough to avoid a bollocking from me. The kills themselves haven't dodged such a bullet, as they're extremely unimaginative, which is fucking criminal considering the variety of baddies Creative had at their disposal, and irregardless of the modest $8 million budget, it wouldn't be completely unreasonable for you to expect such sequences to be at least slightly more innovative than something you'd find in an Uwe Boll flick. Truth be told, even if the death scenes were gorgasmic, they'd be undermined to fuck by the lack of clout accompanying all characters involved, because the penmanship of the aforementioned AI left them barren of any foundation or development worthy of mention. To be fair, this is completely on brand, because it felt like everyone who contributed to the making of Taro did so whilst giving the same amount of fucks as I do towards the calorie count in a block of halloumi. So that's another end of year review shaped box ticked. I can't believe we're in the dying embers of December at time of talking, and I'm yet to accomplish all the resolutions I made back in January. I have ploughed through some, but before 2025 arrives, I still need to throw a 180 in darts. Several games I wished to complete haven't received attention, but what irritates me the most is that Earth has spunked out a tasteful amount of orbital periods since my birth, and I still haven't done play-by-play commentary at a Mandinget party.